All right, guys, so last chapter of this section, or last section of this chapter, and it's our 5-number summary and box plots. So we're going to grab the data, all the stuff that we learned from the previous section, and we're going to display it and make it pretty for everyone to understand. All right, so we explore data to see if they contain interesting information that may be useful to our research. The summaries we have studied make this exploration much easier. In fact, because of these summaries represented exploration of a famous statistician named John Tukey called this material exploratory data analysis. So talking about our 5-number summary. So the 5-number summary of a data set consists of the smallest data value are 3 quartiles, so Q1, Q2, Q3, and the largest data values. We organize the 5-number summary as follows. So minimum Q1, medium Q3, and the maximum. So the data shown in table 17 show the finishing times in minutes of men in the 60 to 64-year-old age group in a 5-kilometer race. Determine the 5-number summary of this data set. So let's grab that data and take it to our notebook. Keep it down the it's just a little bit. I'm recording a video right now. Just like 10 more minutes, maybe an hour. Oliver. I'm working. I'm sorry. It's not playtime. Come on. Come on. Just for a little bit. All right, so here we have the data. I just took a picture of it. But since we're comparing 2 different data sets, what we'll do on this page is actually grab the data from both of them and compare them. But here we'll analyze the data for the flight rats and for the control rats. So starting with the flight rats, let's get our 5-number summary for this data set. Again, first thing we're going to do is just not identify. We're going to organize it in ascending order. So starting with the smallest data value going up to the largest. And let's see. All right, so smallest data value, we have 6. So far 6.39. 6, yeah, that looks like it. 6.39. Another 6, 6.85, 6.87, 6.85. 6.87. No more 6s. Now we're moving on to 7. 743, 721, 700, 743, 754. Nope. 721, and we can fix this. So 721, 7, 5, 4, 7, 8, 9. Then 8, we have 8.03, 8.59, 8.64, 8.80. And last ones we have are the 9s, 9.30, 9.79. And just to make sure, let's see, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And just to keep it a little bit more organized, let's actually make it top half, bottom half. All right, one more time. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We have 4, 8, 12, 4, 12, 13, 14. There we go. All right, so that's us organizing it in ascending order. So now let's talk about the 5-number summary. And this is for flight rats. So the first number is the minimum value. The second number is Q1. Third number is Q2. Fourth number is Q3. And fifth number is our maximum data value. So easiest ones to start off with is going to be our minimum and our maximum. Minimum is the smallest one at 6.39. Maximum is the largest one, 9.79. Now we have our quartiles. So quartiles are going to be the first thing we're going to look at is the middle number. So the middle number, since it's an even data set with 14 different data values, our Q2, our median is going to be the average of the 2 middle numbers. So 2 middle numbers are going to be this value and this value just because we organized it just right. So again, the median of these 2 values here. So just so we could compute it over here, we have Q2 is equal to 7.54 plus 7.89, and we're dividing that value by 2. So again, what we're going to do is grab the calculator. So calculator to calculate that number right there. 7.54 plus 7.89 and dividing that number by 2. 7.715. And that's going to be this value right here, 7.715. And now kind of going off of what we talked about last time, we have the lower half versus the upper half. So because we're able to cut the data set down the middle, we have a top half and a lower half. So these values right here, even though we use them to compute the second quartile, so the median, it's still part of the respective data sets. So the lower half, this one is still including this value. Upper half is still including this value because it does have a place. Whenever it's odd, we're looking at that middle value as neither a part of the lower half nor the upper half. All right, so now that we have that, next we're going to find is Q1. So from the lower half of the data set, we're going to find the middle value. So how many values do we have there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So since we have 7 data values, we're just looking for the middle number. The middle number we could find by getting 7 plus 1, dividing it by 2. It's going to be 8 divided by 2, which is 4. So we're looking for the 4th number. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's this 4th number. Remember, we could go from the opposite end too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, still the middle number. So this one right here is Q1. So 7 even, or we could put 7.00. And now we're going to look for the data, the middle number and the upper half. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 data values make up the upper half. And we're just looking for the fourth number here too. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the median of the upper half, also known as Q3. So 8.64. And while we're here, let's erase this. And while we're here, let's find our fences and let's get like a good understanding of what this data set looks like. So to get our fences, we have to start with our IQR, which is Q3 minus Q1. Again, our IQR is going to be 8.64 minus Q1, which is 7.00. And this one's pretty simple. We could do this one in our heads, but you could use your calculator if you need to. So here we just have to subtract 7 from 8. So that leaves us with 1.64. And now we have our fences. So we have our lower fence and our upper fence. So now for our lower fence, what we're going to do is look at all the lower stuff. So this one's going to consist of Q1. Lower means minus, and then our 1.5 times our IQR. And for our upper fence, we're looking at all the upper stuff. So upper Q3, upper we add, and then we have our 1.5 times our IQR. And looking at these values, Q1 ends up being 7.00. Then we have minus 1.5 times our IQR we found was 1.64. And now for our upper fence, our Q3 is 8.64 minus 1.5 times our IQR 1.64. And we could just find those values using our calculator. So now starting with 7 minus 1.5 times our IQR 1.64. And that gives us 4.54. And now for our upper fence, 8.64 minus 1.5 times our IQR 1.64. And that gives us 6.18. And now drawing it, just so we know how to prepare for it. We have our lowest value, minimum is 4.39, but our lower fence goes to 4.5. So we could start with, let's see, maximum goes to 10-ish. We'll just start from 0 and go up to 10. So we have our line. And we could just leave it like that. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Scratch that. I'll do this off camera. All right, so now that we have this all nice and pretty and actually like spread out nicely, what we could do is start adding everything that we need to. So starting with the minimum value, 6.39. Let's see. Oh, we didn't even have to go to 0. But anyway, 6.39. We have about here-ish. 7 even we have here. And that's our quartiles. We could do a vertical line. Q2 is our 7.71, about here-ish. 8.64, about here-ish. And since it's our quartiles, we box those in. Largest value is 9.78, so about here-ish. And now we work on our fences. So the lower fence, 4.54. 4.54 is about here-ish. Our upper fence, 6.18. Ah, we messed up here. So we actually had to add it, not subtract it. Okay. So we should have added, not subtracted. So 11.1 or 11.1. Oh no, 11.1 even. And why don't we do this? Since we have enough room, I'll cut these out. Shift the data set over. I'll just start over. Okay, redoing the number line. I didn't cut it off as much as I should have, but it's okay. All right, starting over. So we talked about the minimum value is 6.34. 6.5 is between 6 and 7. So 6.34 is just to the left of that. Q1 is 7 even, perfect. Q2, 7.715, about here-ish. Q3 is 8.64, a little bit further than halfway. And since those are our quartiles, we're going to box those in. And our maximum value, 9.79. So really close to 10. And this should be 9 here. Kind of got mixed up. There we go. Now for our lower fences and our upper fences, the lower fence was 4.54. So 4.54 is about here-ish. And upper fence 11.1. 11.1 is about here. So there aren't any outliers, so that's good news. And that makes up our picture for the flight rats. So now for the control rats, it's going to be a little bit different. Let's go ahead and put these in order. I'll do this off camera so we're not wasting too much time. All right, so we have our data set right here, numerical order. So from our smallest data value to our largest data value. And now we could find our 5 numbers summary. So remember, 5 number summary consists of the smallest data value, largest data value, and our 3 quartiles. So 5 number summary. And this is for our control group. So minimum data value, that ends up being the smallest data value in that set. So 6.99. Our second number, Q1. Third number, Q2. Fourth number, Q3. Fifth number, maximum value, which we could get here too, 9.94. So Q2 is the middle value of our data set, but because it's an odd number, it's going to be the average of these 2 middle values. So again, Q2 is going to be our 2 middle values, so 8.55 plus 8.58, and we're dividing that number by 2. So figuring that one out, 8.55 plus 8.58, 17.13, and we're dividing that number by 2. 8.565. So that's Q2, 8.565. And now Q1 is going to be the middle value of the lower half. Q3 is going to be the middle value of the upper half. So again, we got Q2 by figuring those 2 out. or the middle value of those two. And just like it was in the previous example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the middle number in a data set of 7 data values is going to be the fourth value. So we could just say 4 here, and that's the fourth value there too. So this is going to be 7.44. This one's 9.14. Just like we did with the other data set, we're going to find the middle value here too, or we're going to find the lower fence and upper fence here too. So let's just start that part out. So IQR, inner quartile range, is going to be Q3 minus Q1. Q3 is going to be 9.14. Q1 is 7.44. So we have 9.14 minus 7.44. And that gives us 1.7. So now we have our lower fence and our upper fence. Lower fence is all of our lower stuff. So our lower quartile, Q1 lower is minus, and then we have our 1.5 times our IQR. Our upper fence is going to be consisting of our upper stuff. So Q3 upper is plus, so plus 1.5 times our IQR. And let's throw in our values in here. So Q1 7.44 minus 1.5 times 1.7 or IQR. And for Q3 9.14. This time it's plus, so we're not going to forget it. 1.5 times 1.7, which is our IQR. And we compute it. So 7.44 minus our 1.5 times 1.7. That gives us 4.89. And now going 9.14 plus this time 1.5 times our IQR 1.7, and that's 11.69. All right, so now that we have all of our stuff, we could go ahead and graph this data. Perfect, and we'll start off with our lowest value is going to be 4.8. Let's start off with 3. And our highest number is 11.69, so we'll go up to 12. So we have 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, starting with the minimum value, 6.99. It's pretty close to 7, so it's going to be about here-ish. Q1 is 7.44, about here. Q2, 8.56, about here. Q3, 9.14, about here. Because it's our 3 quartiles, we're going to box those in. And our maximum data value, 9.94, so right here. Our lower quartile is 4.89, so close to 5 here. And our upper quartile is 11.69, right here. So this is our data set here. So no outliers, nothing crazy. So we're good here. Now we have to compare these two. So comparing this 5-number summary with this 5-number summary. And we're going to grab those two and take it to this page here. So let's copy this. So copy and bring it over here. So that's a 5-number summary for the flight rats. And our 5-number summary for the control rats. All right, just so we know how to graph these, let's look at these two data sets. So it looks like if we cut it off at 4 here, we're good. And cutting it off over here at 4, we're good. Here, this number is bigger, cutting it off at 12. This one's 11, so it'll work. So we're going to work from 4 to 12. So when we draw this data set. So I'm just saying that so it makes it a little bit easier to work with the numbers that we already have. Another thing, you want to graph this lower than normal because what you're doing is putting one data set here and another data set right above it. So we don't want to start writing over here where we have our data. So starting with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So now differentiating between the two, I'm going to make this data set in this blue. And this is going to be our flight data. So starting with our minimum value, 6.39. 6.39 is about here-ish. So we're doing dots here. And remember, we didn't have any outliers, so we don't have to do anything crazy there. Next is our Q1, which is 7. Q2, 7.715. Q3, 8.64. There we go there. And our maximum value, 9.79. This right here. And this is our data for the flight rats. And next we're going to do a different color for the control rats. So control, our minimum value was 6.9. So let's draw this one up here. So close to 7, 6.99. Q1 was 7.44. About here-ish, 8.5. About here-ish, 9.14, just after that 9. Box those in because that's our quartile data. And lastly, our maximum value, 9.94. So close to 5. And this is our control. So that's the data for our control group and for our flight group, or control rats versus our flight rats. So it kind of looks like the data is a little bit higher for the control rats. It is, we could see that it is slightly right skewed because there's more data being pushed this way to the right. Yeah. Let's see if we missed anything. So they graphed it, I'm guessing it looks like they graphed it using StatCrunch. We did it by hand, which is a lot cooler, I think. All right, so the spread as measured by the interquartile range appears to be similar for both groups. So interquartile range is about the same-ish, but it does look to be a little slightly bit higher for the control group. The data kind of seems to be pushed a little bit more to the right. So there we go. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and email me. But if not, you guys are on your own. After this video, sometime during the week, I'll see if you guys want to do like a recap video of all the material before the exam. But again, if you guys don't have any question, or if you guys have questions, email me. Feel free to request a little workshop or request a meeting with me, like a one-on-one, so I could help recap anything. Of course, use a Success Center too. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.